This is Cell Signaling in Multiple Sclerosis by Faatihah, Nayeem, and Kane. Multiple sclerosis is an autoimmune disease in which the blood-brain barrier of a patient depletes, causing T cells to enter and destroy the myelin sheath on neurons in the brain and spinal cord, resulting in a lack of communication between neurons and neurological receptors. The affected nerve cells can no longer transmit signals from one area of the brain to another. The symptoms of MS include vision loss, pain, fatigue and weakness, difficulty in balance, and impaired coordination. MS affects almost every part of the body. Types of cell signaling. There are both local and long-distance cell signaling. Local distance signaling affects neighboring or adjacent cells through gap junctions. In parasine signaling, a secreting cell acts on a nearby target cell by discharging molecules of a local regulator to the extracellular fluid. Synaptic signaling is when a nerve cell releases neurotransmitters into a synapse, stimulating the target cell. Multiple sclerosis deals with a faulty synaptic signaling. Long-distance cell signaling is also known as hormonal signaling. In hormonal signaling, specialized cells release hormone molecules, which travel via the circulatory system or the bloodstream to other parts of the body, where they reach target cells that can recognize and respond to the hormones. The signal transduction pathway. The signal transduction pathway is the series of the binding of signaling molecules to receptors that trigger a reaction in the cell. A normal signal transduction pathway begins with reception, where the target cell detects a signaling molecule or a ligand that binds to a receptor protein on the cell's surface or inside the cell, causing the receptor protein to undergo a change in shape. The ligand binding to the receptor triggers the first step in the chain of molecular actions that leads to a particular response within the cell. Next is transduction, or the steps or series of steps that converts the signal to a form that can bring about a specific cellular response. The last step is response, where the transduced signal finally triggers a specific cellular response. The response may be any imaginable cellular response, such as catalyst. Ligand-gated ion receptors. This type of receptor plays a huge role in the nervous system and therefore relates to the dysfunctioning in MS. This type of receptor has a region that acts like a gate for ions when the receptor assumes a certain shape after a ligand is bound to it, causing it to open and close, which allows or blocks the diffusion of specific ions. Ligand-gated ion receptors are typically found within the axon membrane. Ligand binds to a receptor molecule within the membrane to allow the passage of sodium plus and potassium plus ions to generate an electrochemical gradient or action potential across the axon, which helps the neuron transfer its signal across a synapse. These channels are very important in the nervous system since the neurotransmitter molecules released a synapse between two nerve cells bind as ligands to ion channels on the receiving cell, causing channels to open. The diffusion of ions triggers an electrical signal that propagates down the length of a receiving cell. Nerve signaling in the myelin sheath. Neurons, or nerve cells that carry nerve impulses, are made up of the cell body, the axon, the myelin sheath, and several dendrites. Signals move across the synapse, the place where the axon of one neuron meets the dendrite of another, using chemicals called neurotransmitters. Nerve cells communicate by sending electrical signals called action potentials down long fibers called axons, which are contained within an insulating substance, the myelin sheath. The myelin sheath insulates the axons in a neuron and assists in speeding up the communication between nerve cells and receptors. In MS, T cells attack the myelin sheath, ruining the ability of nerves to send signals to the receptors. The damage is due to inflammation caused by the body's own immune system attacking the nervous system. Since the neuron's axon becomes damaged, its ability to facilitate and transmit signals to other neurons is disrupted due to the fact that the action potential is no longer functioning properly. This causes the signals moving through the nerves to slow down or even stop completely. What causes MS? Autoimmune diseases such as MS are likely due to a faulty HLA-DQB1 gene. The HLA-DQB1 gene on chromosome 6 provides instructions for making proteins that play a critical role in the immune system. The HLA complex helps the immune system distinguish the body's own proteins from foreign invaders, but when changed, attacks the body's own tissues. Autoimmune disorders that have been associated with HLA-DQB1 include MS. MS can occur along any area of the brain, optic nerve, or spinal cord. It is unknown what exactly causes this to happen. The most common thought is that a virus or gene defect, or both, are to blame. Environmental factors such as low vitamin D and cigarette smoking have also been shown to increase risk. The inheritance pattern of MS is unknown. Studies suggest that genetic risk factors such as the risk of developing MS, but there is no evidence that it is genetically inherited.
If you're looking for more resources on MS, check out these works cited.